A small Georgia city never saw it coming. East Point sits just 7 miles south of Atlanta, a quiet community of about 40,000 people, where neighbors recognize each other's cars and violent crime is rare. But in the spring of 2001, fear crept into the streets. Someone was watching, someone was waiting, and someone was about to turn East Point into a hunting ground. On March 1st, 2001, a worried son drove to his mother's home after she failed to answer his calls. That alone was unusual. They spoke every single day. When he arrived, something felt wrong. The house was quiet, too quiet. Then he noticed signs of disturbance and followed them to his mother's car. What he found inside would haunt East Point for months. Pamela Clark was dead. She had been shot multiple times at close range while sitting in her vehicle. Police arrived within minutes and quickly realized this was no ordinary homicide. Pamela wasn't robbed. Her purse was still inside the car. Her vehicle hadn't been moved. Then investigators uncovered a critical detail. Pamela Clark was a probation officer for the state of Georgia. Pamela worked daily with convicted criminals, people she had the authority to send back to prison. That instantly raised alarms. East Point police requested help from the FBI and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The crime scene told a disturbing story. The shots were fired from inches away. Glass fragments were embedded in her face. And despite multiple gunshots, there were no shell casings. That suggested one thing. The killer either used a revolver or carefully removed every casing. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. Detectives searched for a motive. They interviewed Pamela's family, friends, and co-workers. Everyone said the same thing. She was fair, respected, even loved by many of the probationers she supervised. Investigators spent weeks reviewing dozens of case files. Eventually, one name stood out, a probationer facing possible revocation who lived nearby. A witness even identified him as someone seen near the crime scene. But after polygraph tests, alibi verification, and phone records, police were forced to let him go. The case went cold, and the killer walked free. Then, more than a month later, the shootings started again. On April 8th, a retired man opened his door on a warm spring evening. A gunshot exploded through the screen. The bullet shattered his arm and tore into his chest. As he lay bleeding, police found something chilling nearby, a note. It read, "I was locked up for 6 weeks. Someone must pay." It was signed with a single name, Jack. Less than an hour later, another call came in. Another shooting, another victim. This time, the man didn't survive. 5 shell casings littered the street, all .40 caliber. East Point now had a serial shooter. Over the next days, Jack struck again. A bullet ripped through a woman's living room window, stopped only by her television. Another note appeared. "Better count your body bags." The message was clear. He wasn't done. Police linked the notes together. Same paper, same torn edges, same bright highlighter ink. Then came a breakthrough. An FBI agent remembered seeing a similar note weeks earlier inside Pamela Clark's car. The first murder wasn't random. It was the beginning. On April 24th, Jack attacked again. This time, a woman named Rosa Lewis was shot 4 times while sitting in her car. She barely survived. Then investigators made a shocking discovery. Rosa Lewis was also a probation officer. She worked in the same office as Pamela Clark, and she knew exactly who wanted her dead. Hidden inside her desk was a letter. If anything happened to her, She wrote it was her ex-husband's fault. William Lewis. She detailed threats, violence, and rage over their divorce. Detectives immediately paid him a visit. His reaction was cold, detached, almost rehearsed. Then police noticed something else. His car matched witness descriptions. His rental records lined up with shooting dates, and inside his bedroom, highlighters. The same colors used in Jack's notes. Lewis was arrested, but investigators still needed proof. The murder weapon was never found. Then forensic technicians made a critical discovery. Along the torn edges of the notes were lip prints, saliva, DNA. It matched William Lewis. Jack had been unmasked. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Lewis eventually confessed in writing. Pamela Clark was his first target, punished for helping his wife leave him. The other victims were distractions, smokescreens, human decoys. William Lewis pled guilty to 26 charges. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 191 years. No parole. No release. East Point would finally sleep again. But one question still lingers. If he hadn't been caught, how many more would Jack have killed?